Hello and welcome to Soul Fusion Cafe. I'm Jess, your host, and we are here for another week of soul forward living and wellness. Today, we're diving into the void, the dark night of the soul, and talking about how to transform ourselves through the dark night into the light of our being. Because the light of our being is always there, even when things are at their darkest. However, it can feel extremely lonely and isolating and downright scary when we're in a dark night of the soul. If you've never heard of that term, you might be wondering or even relating to it, going, wait, that sounds like something I'm going through. Maybe you're going through it right now, or you have at a time. It is often referred to this way in different spiritual teachings, as it's the dark night. And many might be saying, yeah, I've had that, and why am I having another one? Well, the thing is that there's often many dark nights of the souls during the course of our lifetime here. I myself was under the impression that after I went through what I felt like was my dark night of the soul and I identified it as that, I thought, oh, okay, I'm good and done. That's behind me. And that one was behind me, but found myself in more of such moments throughout my life. And none are as profound sometimes as those first occasions where you really feel at loss if you don't yet have the spiritual resources. Often the dark night of the soul is what helps us cultivate the very resources that we need in order to awaken more deeply. It can be the catalyst for our awakening. So if we have other dark nights of the souls after we've had that awakening experience, they don't feel as harsh. They can still be very difficult, but they don't feel as harsh because we have acquired more awareness and tools to shift through them. So, as I mentioned, it's often called the void also because it's a space where everything falls away, right? Everything that we thought was our reality is gone. Sometimes we lose everything and we feel very driftless, we feel very lost, we feel alone, and it might feel like everything falls away. The friendships and relationships might fall away. The people that we had in our life that we were sure were going to be there for us always might suddenly not be there anymore. And there's so many different ways that this happens or goes down. Sometimes we leave other people, sometimes they leave us, but something changes and we find ourselves just feeling really alone. Or there are still people, but we just feel like we don't relate to them in any way anymore, and we feel like they don't get us, and maybe we don't get them. Everything is changed. The dark night of the soul, or the void, is a place where it feels like, you could be going insane. Who am I? Questions of, what am I doing here? What is happening? A lot of loss of faith can happen, depression, all kinds of things that make it feel like it's truly a death. Everything that we knew has been altered and it's not going to go back to the way it was. And it's a very uncomfortable space at times to be in, right? I mean, if you've been there, you know what I'm saying. You're nodding your head. It's awful. It's heart-rending to go through that. It is not something I would wish on my worst enemy. It's not fun. So why do we go through it if it's so not fun? Well, there's a lot of reasons beyond what the mind can ever comprehend, right? Our mind is a beautiful place that offers us a lot of explanations and support and service. However, it cannot understand a lot of what's happening in multidimensional space. We are multidimensional beings. We are here on Earth and we feel and see this three-dimensional body that we have. We interact with other beings. We interact with the elements. We see, touch, taste, all of those things. But there are other dimensions beyond the 3D. And there's a 5th dimension, a 7th, a 9th, all the way up to the 34th and beyond. I mean, that's way beyond the mind. The mind relates to the world of form and the nervous system and the brain. It interacts with things from a set point and perspective of the world that we are living in, that we see and interact with and we're born with. The world that is beyond the veil is a multidimensional, amazing space. You are a being of light. Even in the form that you're in, you're always moving and shifting. You're not static. You're not in one place. You're not solid, even though you appear solid. So there is all of this realms beyond what the mind can comprehend. So that's part of why the void feels so crazy, because you feel like you are losing your mind. That is one sign that you are in the void, is that you feel like you've lost your marbles, right? It feels crazy. You're not sure who you are anymore. That is a key sign that you are in the dark night of the soul or the void experience. Another sign is that, like I mentioned before, people fall away or relationships fall apart. Sometimes that stimulates the dark night of the soul. Usually some sort of loss will trigger the dark night of the soul. It doesn't just arrive out of nowhere. Usually something has been lost, whether it's a job or a move happens or a death or relationships disintegrate and you realize that maybe your friends just aren't your friends anymore. Something happens. And so oftentimes there's several things that happen that leave us feeling like we do not have anywhere to grasp onto. It's that feeling of just not being able to get a hold of anything and being completely swept away in the current. And it feels really like, for everybody, it's their own personal feeling, but it can just feel like you do not know up from down, left from right. It feels like maybe this is never going to end. This is the way it's always going to be, because the mind is trying to understand what happened. Again, the mind is so related to this experience of the 3D realm and isn't having that perspective that there's so much more going on. So to the mind and to the ego is our repository of all of our memories. It is our personality. It is tied to the inner child, and it does not have the big picture either. However, the dark night of the soul, part of its purpose is to dismantle the ego. If we're going to awaken, we need to dismantle the ego. So that is really what the feeling is of the dark night. It's the ego dying. It's never gonna die completely. We do need an ego to survive here, but its control and the reign that it has had as the authority is on its way out. That's the opportunity that's available in a dark night. Not everybody comes through it having that experience where the ego is dismantled. But if you think back to a time where you had a dark night, or if you are going through one right now, knowing that, it at the end of it, usually there is this big shift in perspective that you see and feel and sense and know. Usually it's a knowing, right? Because it's the senses that are beyond the five senses of the physical body and world. It is a knowing and a clairvoyance or a claircognizance that much more is happening behind the scenes than we can see and understand with our mind and our ego. We become really aware that much more is going on, and we rebuild ourselves anew from a whole new perspective and way of understanding the world. So while we're in it, Dark Night of the Soul can feel awful, but at the end of that period, we are in a totally different place and perspective and paradigm than we were before the dark night happened, before we went through the void. And we do have to lose the ego to an extent in order to come home to who we really are. The ego gets completely in the way of us understanding the truth of our being, that we are a multidimensional being that can work in unseen territories, and the brilliance of who we are is discovered there. And the ego has a really vested interest in us not going there. I mean, its job is to keep you safe. It is to keep us safe. The ego is like, I'm here to make sure nothing bad happens to you. It looks at the repository of all past experience and it says, oh, something happened before and that hurt. Don't be careful. Don't do anything again that might cause that hurt. You know, even when you're making a step towards something that excites you, that's why when you feel really excited about a new idea and endeavor, at first there's all that momentum because your soul and spirit's carrying you, but the ego comes creeping in saying, what ifs, and but, and oh no, and then you start talking yourself out of the endeavor and going back into safety. And there's always going to be a discomfort when we make strides towards a new endeavor. Always, the ego is going to show us where we have our fears, and it's going to chime in. So, it has a purpose. It wants to keep us safe. It also wants to keep us, emotionally, mentally, physically safe. It does not get that there's more going on than meets the eye. And it will relaxin, and that's a new word. It will relax and dissolve its hold and grip as we cultivate our spiritual nature, as we reach into the authenticity of who we really are. The ego starts to feel more and more safe and relaxed, and it can play its support role, helping us, but it doesn't drive the bus anymore. The Dark Night of the Soul is a great way to sweep away parts of the ego's grip. It's a way that we find our way home to the soul that we are. And even in the darkest night, our soul is still lighting the way. We are still surrounded by so much support, and at any moment we can call that in. That is why, as we gain in our spiritual tenacity, as we cultivate more of our own mastery and step forward more fully into the truth of who we are, we don't go through such difficult void experiences. We still might, but if you have cultivated the trust that there is an end to this, the trust that your soul has the way, it's just so much more gentler, and it doesn't feel like this soul rendering dark night. Those dark nights that feel like they are ripping you to shreds, it's the ego that is dying. So if you're finding yourself in the midst of this kind of moment, if that's going on for you right now, first and foremost, hand to heart and take a breath, dear one. I feel you. I see you. I know that this is not an easy experience to go through, and there is no way I would ever trivialize it and say that it is not super impactful and hard as all heck to go through. It will not be forever, and it will end. That is always a reminder you can give yourself and your ego that, and your soul, that acknowledgement that this will not be forever. This will pass. And the beautiful part is that when we strip away what doesn't serve us, it might be the soul's way of giving us the ultimate gift. Some of those people that maybe we feel we lose in the void, maybe they go through their own transformation, or because of our transformation, we see them in a new light and we still have a relationship when we come out of this. Maybe some of those people that we feel we lose in the void were not truly meant to walk with us on this journey anymore, and we can begin to see and understand that they played a beautiful part in us coming to this very moment. They were part of our life and journey, and we can love them very much and appreciate them, but move on knowing that at a soul level, we're all okay in doing exactly what we need to do at any given moment. Sometimes we realize that there were people that we thought were for our highest good, but maybe they really weren't, and we get that clarity that they weren't in a space of being loving and supportive of us, and we realize that maybe we truly are, better moving on from that. And then the beautiful thing happens is that many people start flooding into your life that are new connections. This is what happens after the void experience. You start to meet people that might be your real soul tribe, your soul family. You may have all kinds of new connections because now that you have swept clean what was not serving you, you have room for what does. So take heart, the beautiful part after the dark night and after the void is transited is that we bring forward so much support for ourselves because there is room now. It's like when your house is full of clutter and you just keep adding more clutter, bringing more things into it, and you have too much and it doesn't feel good anymore. You can't even enjoy the objects or things that bring you joy because there's just too much stuff and too much stuff that's not bringing you joy, that you can't even enjoy what you do have. The void clears out. It cleans the house, so to speak. And the things remain afterwards and they were there all along. It just can feel like it's hard to see because, again, the ego is having a fit. It is like it's dying. It's throwing out every trick in the book. It is telling you, all the horrible thoughts and things that you might have and carry about yourself and the world are dancing through your head. It is a carnival funhouse ride that you just want to get off of. And you can, you can shift through it. You are a powerful being of light. You can transit the void in like a few moments. But sometimes it's just not that easy till we have all that perspective. And that's part of the void's process, is to get us to that moment where we do have that perspective that there is something much more brilliant and beautiful waiting for us. But yeah, why? Why do we as humans go through so much is what we might ask. But from the soul's perspective, everything is imperfection. And the soul, it doesn't feel pain the way our emotional body feels pain. Our soul wants what's best for us, and it wants us to release that which isn't serving us. And it doesn't feel pain the way our emotional body feels pain. The soul will be impacted by severe trauma, but it does not feel the same sort of like human emotional feelings and pain. It feels exhilarated that we're releasing what doesn't serve us anymore. It feels glad that it is going to be able to be our guiding light and keeps pulling us forward through anything we might be walking through. And when we don't have the spiritual tenacity, when we don't have the understandings or the awakening yet, the void is not fun at all. It's never fun. But when we don't have awareness, it's really not fun. Or when we forget, we have the awareness, but we forgot. That's the other side, is that we knew all of these, we've touched all this energy and understanding and had the aha moments. And then we find ourselves going through something so dark, so lonely, so far removed that we forget. We forget everything we ever learned. It takes over as feeling like this is reality. This is how it is and how it always has been and always will be. How many of you relate to that? When we're feeling down and in the dark, that we feel like, oh, this is awful, and everything is awful, and everything will always be awful, right? We go and slide down into that victim mode, and we've lost all of our power. So whether or not the void is, sometimes for me now, it's just one day. It's not a many weeks long process. I've had dark nights that lasted a long time. And now they're not like that. It's more of like a void experience. And it can be much more fleeting. But in the moment, we are disconnected from our power when we are in that state. And part of the design of it is that by understanding and feeling what it's like to lose all of our power, we understand how amazing it is to regain our power, to be empowered. And if we can feel so very low, I had a teacher tell me once that if you can feel so low and so abysmal and all of the emotions and feelings that come with that, my heart goes out to you. It's awful. It sucks. And it's just a torment to be there. I would never ever trivialize it. But because we can feel those kinds of emotions and feelings, we also can feel the total opposite. We are capable of feeling just as intensely joyful, just as intensely grateful, just as intensely in love with our life. So we have this capacity to feel this whole range. And sometimes by feeling and understanding the lowest of feelings, it helps us to get the perspective and understanding and gratitude of when we feel so amazing and good. This human realm is complex. There's a lot of complexity to being a human. And I talked a little bit earlier about being a multidimensional being. And I think this is a good point to move our conversation in that direction a bit, because what does that mean when I say multidimensional being? I mean, you might be listening to this and saying, yes, I get it, or you might be saying, oh, well, what is that all about? We are beyond this form, well beyond this form, doing things in realms at all times. And there's a beautiful fifth dimensional aspect of our soul that's so available right now. And it lives in realms where it is more fluid. The energy and light moves faster. Things can manifest instantly. It's outside of the realm of thought and mind and ego. It's a very pure love space. And the higher you go up in dimensions, the more pure and crystalline the streams of light are, and the more high vibrational the energy is, and the more instantaneous manifestation is. But there's less and less form. We came here to Earth to be all of that beautiful light energy while we are in form. So we get to be in form and enjoy this planet and enjoy the other forms on this planet. It is a spiritual mastery to be a light being in form, to realize that we are multi-dimensional, that we are working in so many times and places. And this brings us into the quantum realm. And in the quantum field, there is no time. Time disintegrates. It's the present moment, right now moment. It transcends everything that we think is linear time. Past, present, future, day of the week, hour, minute. There's none of that in these other multidimensional realms. And those all exist. They coexist with our experience right now. So there are aspects of ourselves that are off. When you get a moment where you daydreamed and just zoned out somewhere, a lot of times you're out, that's part of you is working in some other multidimensional space. And then you're like, whoa, where was I? I just came to. That's that feeling of going into the multidimensional and out. And I want to pick this back up, talk more about the void, talk more about being a multidimensional being and how to shift out of those void moments and how to claim the gifts when we come back after this break. Do you ever really get that feeling of wanting to be who you truly are, yet you feel some things that might be holding that back? Do you want to find clarity about your soul's purpose? Are you wondering about strange symptoms or things that are presenting that you need healing from in your life, whether they're physical, emotional, or mental? Are you ready to accept your true nature? If you answered yes to any of these questions, Self-Ascension is your inspirational hub where there are meditations, free and available for you to go and listen to and enjoy, that can help shift your day in a moment. Self-Ascension Studios is my inspirational hub. I'm Jess Juntunen, medical intuitive, healer, quantum clairvoyant, reader, midwife to the awakening spirit, where I guide individuals in one-on-one sessions that combine the beauty of readings, individualized care that is all about you and your goals. What is your goal and how do you want to be in life? Who is it that you are calling forward? And we work to set forth a plan for your greatest expansion. Self-AscensionStudios.com also offers events and special memberships to group settings of women who are up-leveling and calling forward their dreams and visions into their life. Soul Forward Passage is a beautiful membership that offers you the opportunity to connect with others, claim your gifts, and manifest your goals and dreams into reality, along with other beautiful programs that are always being added and other opportunities. So the opportunity for one-on-one sessions and workshops in the online setting from the comfort of your home is available. There's also always free, awesome support at my Facebook page, Self-Ascension Studios, or Instagram at Soul Fusion Cafe. Why not take the opportunity to learn more and dive into the truth of your being? I am here to facilitate and assist you every step of the way, and I invite you to take some action today to bring yourself the gifts and truth and expansion you truly deserve. Free yourself and live your most rad life. Evolve at selfascensionstudios.com. Hello and welcome back. This is Soul Fusion Cafe. I'm Jess Juntunen, and this is the second half of our show. We have been talking about the void, the dark night of the soul, and our multidimensional self, and how to traverse the dark night of the soul and re-remember ourselves. So in the first half, we talked a lot about what the dark night of the soul is, what that all means. If you're just tuning in now and you want to hear more about that, you can always go to my show archives at Soul Fusion Cafe. They are found at my website, selfascensionstudios.com, in the Soul Fusion Cafe archives tab, selfascensionstudios.com. And you will find all the archives of every show there and be able to listen back if you want to hear more about what we've been talking about this hour. So Dark Night of the Soul and the Void, not fun, no bueno, I don't want to go there. What if you find yourself there right now and you're saying, oh my gosh, I thought I did this before. I've already had my Dark Night of the Soul. Guess what? There's more than one. Spoiler, if you've had your one and you don't freak out, they get easier, and I feel like calling them the Void is more appropriate at that point. It does not feel like you're losing all sense of self. And that is one of the main things, is that when we feel like we're losing everything, it's that we're losing our ego. It feels crazy, and it is a self-ascension symptom to lose our mind, to feel like you're losing your mind. If you feel like you are losing your mind lately, good. We want to lose our mind. I mean, you won't ever lose it permanently, but we do want to lose our mind. The ego that wants to control everything. We talked about that a bit. It wants to keep on telling us, what's safe, what's dangerous, and our own growth is dangerous to the ego because it's unknown. It doesn't know that the most beautiful thing might be on the horizon. It is just always catastrophizing, worrying about the worst thing that could happen, and it's just trying to protect you from being hurt. The soul knows that it can't be hurt by these kinds of matters. The soul knows there's so much more going on, and the soul knows about multidimensional experience, which we were just talking about before the break. Multidimensional experience is the beautiful place that we all play in, whether or not we're conscious of it. But when we become more conscious of it, we get to be the co-creators of our experience and come into our power. And that is what the void does, is it recalibrates us. It sweeps out and cleans out what's not serving us anymore and gives us a remembrance of our true nature, of our authenticity. It allows us a new place to see things from, a new perspective. It's a place where we come home more to ourselves. So when the void is transited, we reconfigure and recalibrate in a totally new way, and we are free from very much of the sorts of thoughts and things and situations and relationships that might have been holding back our soul's truth and our soul's mission. And each and every one of us, this is the realm of the soul, right? Multidimensional. It's beyond the 3D. It's beyond being human. It's beyond planet Earth. It transcends all time and space. And you can get into touch more with this part of yourself. And that is the gift that the void ultimately offers us, is a coming home to ourself and to remember. And we can transit those void moments much more easily when we realize that there's more going on than meets the eye. So in those moments, it's really important to do a lot of connecting and soul searching, to really come to our heart. And in Self-Ascension, which I teach and study, everything is about foundationalizing in our heart center. The heart center is the root center of our new way of being. It is the energy on the planet right now that is being supported. So coming into our heart. So anything that you can do during an experience of a void where you feel like, where's up, where's down, where's my mind, when you're feeling a lot of emotions and feelings that could be dark, lonely, sadness, all of that. It's the opportunity to interact with our soul, and our heart is there, and it can bring us through the void so much faster. So now when I experience a void, as I was mentioning before the break, personally, it's not so much of a dark night of the soul where it just feels like all is lost and I'm never going to be okay again. That was more in the earlier days. Not to say that there's still not moments like that, because the ego is very powerful and it starts to feel like this is happening and this is happening forever. Despite if we know that it's not forever, we still might feel like this is forever, even if part of us knows it's not. But yeah, it's a very difficult place to be in. However, we can shift through it much more quickly when we realize that that's what's happening, is that our ego is being dismantled. It feels like it's dying, and it is throwing out all of the shade that it can to try to regain control. However, the experience of the void is that it's not going to, and the fast, if we want to use the word faster, that we come out of it is that happens more quickly when we realize that we have to allow the soul to lead and nurture it. So the heart and coming home to our true nature will navigate us through it more quickly. And then as we go along on our spiritual journey, we have more of these moments where there's the void and we say, whoa, everything just dropped away. I am feeling, all of the feels. My ego, my mind are having a tantrum. I'm feeling pain. I'm feeling loss. But if we have gone through some of this experience before, and we have cultivated some of our spiritual discernment and mastery, and discernment is saying, I understand, that's like putting that, I understand, that what is for my highest good and what is not, and I'm discerning where to hang out with my energy, who I'm going to hang out with, where I'm going to hang out. Discernment, that gets cultivated. So viewing it as a polishing and a clean sweep, like cleaning your house. It's like getting rid of all of the clutter that's in the way of seeing the treasures. It's about understanding how to bring more spaciousness and how to spend more time with the things that make your soul sing, and to release those things that make your soul feel heavy. So it is a beautiful opportunity when we go through a void experience, and a way to navigate it more masterfully and not get as ripsawed around by it is to come home to the heart. Lots of hand to heart and take a breath. That is medicine. That's medicine, and science backs that. When you bring a hand to your heart and take a breath, you are connecting with the truth of who you are. So that is like the most simple thing that you can do when you are feeling really low. And like I said, a void, that might be a few moments. That might happen after, you didn't get a promotion you wanted, or there was a loss, something happened, and everything kind of shifts from what we expected was happening and what we were attached to I don't know what's happening. So the best thing we can do is bring a hand to heart and take a breath. Consciously connect there. I'll invite you to do that now. Whichever hand feels comfortable, bring it to your heart and take a breath. Do that a few times. And do this practice often. I usually recommend people start with this practice twice a day if they've never done it before. But that's just like the minimum. You could be doing this many times a day. Whenever you're feeling triggered by feelings of sadness, loneliness, or loss, bringing a hand to heart. It not only relaxes the parasympathetic nervous system, and this can be measured, it relaxes the fight or flight response, because when we're thinking and having a feeling of real loss, we are going into the animal part of ourselves, the human part. And that being a human is complex. Like we talked about, we are multidimensional, but we're in a human form and we feel all of these things. So, when we're feeling threatened or loss, our nervous system is in high gear. So we really need to calm that nervous system down, hand to heart, and breathe. Water. Water is your best friend. Drink lots of water. Bathe in water. Offer yourself a beautiful bath. Put candles going and gaze into a flame of a candle, whether you're in a bath or not, and just gaze at the light. Because even in the darkest night, there is a spark. There is a light that the soul throws up, and the smallest amount of light creates so much respite from the gloom. It will create a feeling of brightness, right? Just like if you think about in the dark and it's a really dark night and you're just to light like a match, it would light things up so much. So there is always a spark of light guiding us. So by gazing into a candle flame, we can be reminded of that. And the cleansing of the flame itself will help cleanse our energy field. We have our whole energy field around our body. That's part of our multidimensionality. Some people call that an aura, our biofield, right? Taking a bath, like I said, water is your best friend. Offering some sea salt into the bath can help recalibrate your energetic body. Offering some beautiful essential oils. Making it a ceremony. Or maybe it's a foot bath if you don't have a bathtub. Running your hands underwater and just feeling the water as it moves over your hands and playing with the water. Gazing at images of water. Maybe putting on a video. YouTube has all kinds of beautiful videos of ocean waves or rain. Connect with the sound of water. Put an image on your desktop of water. Print pictures out. Water helps us flow and cleanse away any sticky or residual stuff. My next recommendation is if you are having a really sticky, hard, void experience, like you're feeling really devastated and having a lot of dark feelings and it feels super sticky and stuck, I definitely recommend getting with an energy healer or worker. Myself, I offer services to help people and support them through this. If you go to selfascensionstudios.com or just email me, jess@selfascensionstudios.com, I am happy to talk with you about this and offer services. There are many that offer beautiful services and gifts that can support and help you. So find an energy healer or coach. Maybe it's acupuncture. Acupuncture is beautiful for moving congested, frozen energies and blocks. Maybe it's massage. Feel into what feels good for you, but get support. Find, you don't have to be alone in the void. You might feel like you are all alone, and it might feel like all your support is gone. And that is part of the void sometimes, is to sweep away what truly wasn't supporting us, that we were attached to, and building new forms of support. It's an opportunity to call in our helpers and guides. You can call out to your etheric helpers and guides. We have them. That's the other part of being a multidimensional being, is that there are other multidimensional beings working with us. Some of them are in human form, hanging out here saying, we're here to help. But there's many that are on planet Earth. They're hanging out close. You have your own personal guides. You can call upon universal guides and helpers and ascended masters to come in and help you get the support you need. And if you've never asked before, you just simply say, I don't know what I want or need, just help me. Guides that are here and present, help me. It is our sincerity, love, and presence that communicates with the whole field of existence and energy around us. And these other beings that live in multidimensional realms are never tired by our asks or requests. They don't live on linear time. They don't live by the rules that govern us here. They also know that we are in a free will zone. It is free will to be here on the planet right now. You get to make your own choices, and they will not interfere with us. But they will help us, but we have to ask. So ask your angels and guides and helpers. Ask them for support. And look for support from those that have the gifts on this earth plane too, that may be able to help you shift through this. Sometimes it's just too much to do all that, and it's a prayer on your lips just to help me, and a cry and going to sleep. Other things that can really support you is just taking time in nature. Nature is medicine also. And we know from science now too that the nervous system responds and calms down to being out in nature. You want to think any of the ways you can soothe your nervous system, because your nervous system is reacting to perceived danger and stress that, a void experience brings on. So being outside in nature, that helps us connect with our guides too, by the way. It helps us be closer to them. It's easier to be open and receptive to the communications. And it can just be a few minutes, a little walk or outside. And just knowing that there's a purpose to this, even if it doesn't make sense at the time. And that comes with more of our spiritual growth and path. We enter that state of trust. We can see and know that there's a gift, even if we don't know what that gift is. You can literally acknowledge that I don't get what the gift is from this. This is awful, but there must be something I'm going to gain through this. And that will help shift the void experience quickly by acknowledging it. And gratitude. Thinking of all the things that we are grateful for in our life, that is medicine too. That will help change our energy and how we are interacting with everything, and start calling into us more of the experiences to be grateful for. The universe responds to us. We are powerful manifestors. We are co-creating and acting with the universe at all times. We are these multidimensional quantum beings, and we are not just drifting along being affected by everything. We are able to affect other things that are happening in our world and beyond. We are co-creators in our world. Every action we take affects everything else. We're all connected. Everything is connected in this tapestry that has been woven by each of our experiences and our energies and how we act and react and respond. So we have a lot more power. So realizing that you do have the power to shift things, and gratitude is a very fast way to change your energy field and to co-create more experiences, or to shift a void experience into one where it resolves and you feel happy and fulfilled and dancing again. So to just say thank you for everything you have. There's times where I was so low and, I just have to start in the morning, and I still do this in the morning. I start with my toes. I'm thankful for my toes. What would we be without our toes? Without our feet, right? If we have those, we are really thankful, because if we lost them, it would not be the same. I'm grateful and thankful for my hands that I get to create with. I'm grateful and thankful for my breath. I'm thankful I'm in a bed. If I have a roof over my head, I'm thankful. And it becomes easier to extend that gratitude out. But just start with one thing that you're grateful for. And being grateful that I will have gifts from this, even if I don't know what they are. That will shift things. And it's okay to feel how you are feeling and acknowledging that and being with yourself. That's huge. Be with yourself with every feeling you have and honor it. Whatever the ego and mind want to throw up and thoughts they want to have, instead of just trying to tell them they're bad and instead of also swimming in them, just saying, I hear you. I hear you. I honor you. Thank you. Thank you for trying to keep me safe. Thank you for doing your job so well, because that will neutralize the energy and start to shift things. And the mantra of self-ascension. This mantra is powerful and will change your life. And if you are experiencing a moment of where everything has fallen away and you're feeling yourself in the void, this mantra will see you through. It will guide you through. And it is 4 simple lines. And this comes through Archangel Zadkiel, is delivered by some of my teachers and mentors, Sri Ramka and Kira Ra. And you can check them out at Oneness Talk Radio as well. The self-ascension, the mantra of self-ascension is simply 4 lines. I am here. I am ready. I am open. Guide me. Let's bring a hand to the heart and just take in this beautiful mantra again. I am here. I am ready. I am open. Guide me. And just saying that over and over again to yourself. There's a recognition at the cellular level. This mantra stimulates a remembrance of your expanded nature, your authenticity, and your multidimensionality. It expands your being into your soul realm and helps pop you out of the ego loop. So I've given you a lot of beautiful tips for helping transmute the void into expansion. Because that is what's really happening here, is it's an opportunity for expansion. It's an opportunity to come home more to the truth of who you are, more to your multidimensional nature, more to your true spiritual essence. And that is something really worth celebrating. And knowing that that moment is at hand and is coming can call it in that much faster. The void really need not last more than a few moments. It does not have to be long and arduous and hard. If you are going through that, that is not to minimize what you are going through, because it can be all of those things. And the first go round or the second or even the third or any time, they can be brutal. I'm going to be honest, it is awful. However, you are a powerful being, a light being in form, and you can transmute any of the feelings you're having. You can transition through this moment. You will see the light again, and you will feel the light again, and you will be like reborn anew. You will recalibrate the refractions and pieces that were lost, will mend back into your being, and you will be stronger than you were before, more self-assured than before. And that's the beautiful side of going through an experience that feels really uncomfortable, is that you get to soar and be more of who you were always meant to be. And there will come a time where you don't really need to go through any of these experiences again, or where you are masterful enough to shift through them quite quickly. But honor it, don't judge yourself. That is the key, is to have mercy on yourself, forgive yourself. You know not what you do. Even if you know a lot, you are still a creature of many constellations of experiences, and you are doing the best you can at every given moment with the tools and resources that you have. And that is a fact. You always are. Given the moment in time that you are in, given what is happening around you, given the tools and resources and level of consciousness at that moment, you're doing the best you can. And it is not easy being human. And that's why there is so much help and support here. And the more we reach out for that support and help, like listening to this show, listening to Oneness Talk Radio, where there is 24/7 uplifting shows and music all the time. Cultivate things in your experience that uplift you. Create what supports you. Call it in. There's so much support and love available on this planet and off this planet that is cheering you on. And I tell you, it is a brilliant time. We are all ascending, each in their own way, and there's no wrong way to do it. We're all lifting. Each person has their own path, and there are as many paths to the divine and oneness and the truth of who we are as there are beings on this planet. Relax and trust your own process. You have your own process. You are your unique star. You are beautiful and precious. Please keep remembering that. And until I have the pleasure of being with you again, know you can check out archives of all of my shows at selfascensionstudios.com. You can find the link to that at my Oneness Talk Radio host page, Jess Juntunen, or show page, Soul Fusion Cafe. If you'd like to, chat with me, ask questions or whatever, I'm always here on chat at onenesstalkradio.com. Sunday nights is the premiere of Soul Fusion Cafe at 4 p.m. Pacific time. And I'm always in chat, hanging out, ready to talk with you. So come check it out. Until next time, many blessings, have a radiant day, and much love.
Oneness Talk Radio. Hip, fresh, fun. Tune in to an honest portal of positivity 24/7. Experience unique talk radio from all around the planet, perfectly mixed with music that enchants your soul. Discover oneness moments as you relax into 3 to 5 minutes of divine inspiration. Claim your oneness today. OnenessTalkRadio.com. One world, one voice. Expand your vision.